Spine-tingling manga comes the all-new limited series, Uzumaki. Japanese language premieres Saturday, September 28th at 12:30 on Toonami. Next day on Max. On the next all-new episode of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village.
You've gotta be kidding me! He absorbed the 3 other demons? Hold it! It's so overpowering! I can't breathe!
Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village. Next Saturday at 12:30 a.m. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Hello everyone and welcome to Toonami Therapy. On September 11th of 2024, I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And this is our podcast where we talk about anime we've been watching, some of which airs on Toonami. And that's, nothing special to say beforehand. I don't think there's any important news other than I was kind of surprised about, to discover this. So I was looking over at, my anime list, and I was looking at, the anime coming next season, because you can set it to choose seasonal anime, and it's interesting to look at these before the season actually starts if you filter it by the number of members for those anime, because it lets you see which ones are the really excited ones, because those are the ones that people are going to and discussing and all that kind of stuff, to signal that they're excited. So as usual, the top spots are mostly dominated by things returning. Number 1 is ReZero. We've got Blue Lock. We've got Seirei Gensoki Spirit Chronicles, Ari Ferretta, Bleach, and other stuff. But at number 2, I was very surprised to see that this was apparently, people were so excited, is Uzumaki. So I guess there's really high expectations for that, and hopefully it'll be better than a bunch of the other sort of Toonami original series have been.
Yeah. How many episodes is it going to be? 6 or something?
I think it's only 4. Yeah, it's 4.
4?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Uzumaki was a pretty short manga. It was, let me double... It was...
Are those half-hour episodes?
I think they're half-hour episodes. Yeah, it was the manga was only 3 volumes long, so it was pretty. It was pretty short. It wasn't One Piece, which is at how many volumes is One Piece at now? 109. I almost said 1,000, but no, that's the chapter count. One Piece is up to chapter. I don't know. So it's something past 1,100. Okay, I need to look at the exact one. One Piece is.
How many pages?
Pages? I don't know.
Over 9,000, maybe.
Well, it would. I think it would have to be, because the chapters are. Well, So the standard chapter count. The standard page count for a series in Weekly Shonen Jump is 19 pages, and then sometimes a few extra pages if it was the series on the cover of that issue. Although those extra pages normally are just, I think, used for some big 2-page color thing that's usually just a drawing of the characters doing something, not something in the plot itself. So, but the first chapter or 2 is usually much longer, and One Piece also, especially later on, I think some of the chapters have been shorter because I get the strain of doing it monthly is a bit harder for Oda after he's been doing it for this long. Oda is the author, if anyone didn't know that, which is why there's been more weeks without chapters and such in it. But anyway, so but I would have say it would definitely be well over 9,000 pages. But
Okay.
the chapter count currently is 1,125. So, yeah, I don't know how many people were that interested in finding out something they could have looked up themselves and will be made obsolete. I think in like a week or two. I say a week or two because I'm not sure if there will be one in the next issue, because like I said, sometimes it kind of misses it, but we'll see, I guess. All right.
Yep.
Anyway, so right, we were actually supposed to be talking about Toonami stuff. So
One Piece is Toonami.
Yeah. Oh, darn, maybe we should have waited to have this discussion when we actually talked about One Piece. Okay. So basically we'll go into again Rick and Morty the anime episode 4. So once again there's a bunch of different this is what I'm so confused about. I'm not sure what's a separate timeline, what's in the same timeline but a different part of it, and of all of this stuff. I like literally looked at some discussion for it, and someone was saying that they were thinking, that was like part of the point. It was supposed to sort of be a mystery how all this stuff fit together so far. Okay, but it still leaves me confused and having trouble explaining it. Okay, so but basically there's a bunch of stuff with Morty, who may or may not be the other Morty in this episode, who's fighting with Elle, that girl, to like fight bad guys. And there's also this part where they try to rescue Rick from some aliens, although I'm not sure if that's a different Morty or if that's in the past. But see, this is a problem. When I try to describe this, I've got all these different things and I don't know how they fit together. So yeah, well, I don't know if I'm even going to be trying to summarize these episodes much, because I'm not sure exactly what they're going on.
Yeah, and the bad thing, I think, is that you got the real Rick and Morty on right before it, and that it's in English, and it's so much funnier that it makes this one look worse than it might actually be. But yeah, because I was finding that first episode, not the first episode, but the episode before this at 11:30 p.m. I was finding that one to be hilarious, and then this came on, and I'm like, I couldn't find anywhere to laugh.
I did think the part where Rick is telling the aliens, like, your beef is with me, let the boy go, in reference to Morty. And Morty is saying something, no, I will stand by you, Rick, I won't run away. And Rick said, I was just trying to make them, to make you leave so you wouldn't get in my way. So that part was kind of funny, and what's the sort of thing you would actually see in the actual show from what I've seen of it. But the rest of it is just, I don't know, kind of confusing and feeling very, very different from what the actual show is like.
Mm-hmm.
Which, unfortunately, I kind of feel like that might just be all I'll have to say about it for a lot of episodes going forward. So, yeah, I'm looking at like a nice synopsis of the episode on the Wikipedia article, and I'm looking at this. Okay, this makes a little more sense to me, I guess, but but the thing is, I'm not 100% sure if the person who wrote this is like is getting all this right. I still thank whoever did this. You are doing good work. Anyway, okay. All right, so we'll move on from the other. There was one thing I wanted to mention. This is subtitle. I noticed the subtitles on this seem to be kind of rushed. There were like 2 errors I saw in it. Like because I wrote them down. There's a part where someone says like without you, except without is spelled as 2 words instead of 1. There's also there's maybe I think I wrote down another one. I don't think this is a I don't think this isn't exactly a no, this one actually was an error. The quote was, "Have you ever regretted your decision to marry to me?" That's not correct grammar. Like, that should be "to marry me." So, I mean, maybe, I don't remember the context exactly, but I don't think it was something that where a character would be like, where it was supposed to be misphrased or something by the character. So I don't know, that those subtitles don't seem to be put together that well when I'm seeing things like this. Also, I don't know exactly why, but subtitles don't stand out as much from the like actual episode as they do on like other things like High Dive or Crunchyroll or Netflix. I don't know if there's if like maybe they're not highlighting it correctly or doing whatever they do to differentiate. It just blurs together a little more for me. But I think I mentioned that before, and I don't want to just be repeating myself on these things. So we'll move on to Demon Slayer episode 49. So in this episode, well, there's still a whole lot of fighting with all of this stuff. With Nezuko is still, and Tanjiro are trying to fight the guy. We do have, what's her name? I don't know, the pink-haired girl. I can't remember her name, but she like defeats a bunch of the monsters, the like fish monsters, which I still wonder if they were inspired in any way from that manga series Gyo, which was I mentioned just because it was the same author as Uzumaki. So, basically, what happens is Tanjiro appears to be able to, I think, beat the demons, but then one of the other guys who's, I can't remember his name. I think he was maybe turned into a demon, or at least he looks like he got turned into one, and that's the big cliffhanger thing, I guess. And yep, that's the big stuff I remember from this episode offhand. Well, a note I made, I think this is correct, is we really need Inosuke in this arc.
Yeah, we really do.
It does seem to me like the problem with this arc, I feel, is that it's just been all this fighting, but it's just kind of felt like it's just been fighting. Like, there's a bunch of fighting in the previous arc, but I felt like it felt like there's more to it, and this is just like, well, there's a bunch of fighting. So
yeah.
I mean, it looks good. Of course it's going to look good. Ufotable made this anime, but so it's good action. There's no complaint to that. I just wish the plot theme seems kind of thin right now, and mostly an excuse of, well, we need to have them fight the demons, and they're fighting the demons.
Yeah.
Okay. Fortunately, I don't have too much else to say about it. So, yes, you'd think our podcast would be us talking in depth about the episodes rather than going on about, the number of chapters of One Piece. Speaking of which, we have One Piece. The episode count is pretty high also, because we've got, and we're actually pretty far from where the anime is now still, but we're on episode 683 and 684. So we do find out that super big guy who works for Doflamingo, Pika, has this ridiculously high-pitched voice, which if anyone laughs at, he gets super angry about and tries to kill them. Meanwhile, and of course when Luffy hears a voice and decides to laugh at it, it makes him super angry at Luffy and, tries to punch him, and it sends, people, And it, well, I mean, the characters survive it, of course, but still, that's a big thing. The other thing is that a bunch of while Luffy and the others are trying to go, because they need to go, to the palace and deal and fight Doflamingo and all that stuff. There's all these other people who show up who are saying we're going to defeat Doflamingo, and everyone gets into an argument about who's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That part was kind of funny, and then and then they end up fighting against Pika because he's a giant guy who's in their way and manage to I think they destroy his arm or something with their stuff, so with their powers, so that's good. And I think that's all the stuff in this episode.
Yeah. I do have to admit that I dozed off for a few minutes during that second half of the second episode, but I don't think I really missed much. Yeah.
I mean,
it's go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's a One Piece anime. With all the padding, you can probably miss a decent amount and not actually miss anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me, when I was younger, there actually was a time period where I kind of was following some soap operas. And they are like one episode each day, each weekday, and you kind of quickly started realizing you can skip every other episode and still pretty well understand what's going on in these series. Other than that, One Piece, I mean, it's decent. It would be a lot more decent if not for all the padding.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to sum it up.
Maybe one day we'll just, every time we come to One Piece, that I'll just say that and then we'll move on. Okay. So then we got we do not have Naruto Shippuden because that's over with now. So we instead will leave behind for now the Toonami series and get on to Spice and Wolf, Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf, episodes 13 and 14.
Okay, so I had a real problem with these episodes that they just weren't very memorable for me. So I watched them yesterday, and then today I frantically went on Wikipedia trying to figure out. Okay, this is what's funny about it. I go to the list of episodes trying to find which ones I watched, and I'm like, wait a minute, the descriptions all look similar. I can't tell the difference between which episode I watched and which one I didn't. And so from what I remember, the first episode was about just Lawrence Polo and the shepherd eating with each other. And then the second episode was about them entering a new town. But it just felt like so little happened that I feel like I'm missing something. So I want to know your opinion on it.
Well, first, in regards to Wikipedia, one annoying thing, I mean, I guess, is the fact that when I look at the episode list of this series, it just gives me the episodes. There's not like any synopsis of any of them people have put in. Of course, I mean, I haven't done it either, so I'm not going to begrudge anyone for not doing it. I'm just saying it's not there. There are descriptions, like plot summaries for the original series, though, but not this one. In regards to this, yeah, it did feel... Well, the first episode was basically just there. They eat, then Holo gets sick, and Lawrence takes care of Holo, and that is... and they talk a bunch, and that's kind of basically the episode.
Right.
then the second one was where they go off to the other place and they meet some people, and Lawrence tries to sell some nails and manages to do it. And other than that, yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank, which is weird because I literally watched these episodes today. I watched one earlier today, and I watched the other about an hour before we started recording. And I'm like thinking, yeah. I can remember like the general things, but still, it did feel like the big part was just, hey, they're in a different city now.
Yeah, see, that was the problem I had. It was like I watched the episodes, but I didn't take away much from them. So that isn't a good thing. That doesn't bode well for getting on to the top 3. So, yeah, I guess that is Spice and Wolf. Hopefully next time we will see more. We did get a little scene about where I guess it's Holo talking to her daughter about their journey and in the future. You remember that scene?
Yeah, that was the post-credits thing. It was like the first post-credits thing in forever, so I almost didn't even watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. It's I mean, well, let's see. I mean, we can assume it's Holo, but I don't think it's ever said it was Holo explicitly. Mm-hmm. So I can't always. I mean, obviously we look at it and we're supposed to think that, but there's always a possibility the series will try to. It's all like some sort of fake out, and you find out, oh no, this isn't. Fake out. Yeah, and Holo will and it will turn out not to be Holo. It'll turn out to be, I don't know, Holo's long lost twin sister or something like that. But I know the person she's talking to is presumably Holo is talking to is her daughter, because that's referred to as such at the beginning of the first episode, this scene. So yeah, we did have that. Really though, the big thing I remember, especially the first episode in particular of these two, went on too long. I remember thinking you could have just done all this in half the time and then moved on to the the next episode faster. Mm-hmm. All right, so that is that series. We're about halfway through now, as shown by the fact they changed the theme song.
Yeah.
All right, then I guess we can go on to Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory episode 5.
I guess we can. Okay, so remember how Toonami was the focal point of this? Well, now she's a distant memory, and Sosuke has gone on to a new life in underground armed slave battles, which aren't nearly as cool as underground mafia golf tournaments, but
these don't even like change like the field with like or anything like that. It's just one thing. It's not anything. It's nowhere near what we saw with Birdie Wing, where it was the underground transforming golf course used to settle mafia disputes. This one isn't even like, it doesn't even transform. Come on, man. You can have mechs instead of golfs, but where's the transformation?
You know that they're actually thinking of doing something similar to Birdie Wing Professional Golf. It's called the TGL, and they're going to make it so that you have a bunch of guys play golf in like a stadium, and then they have like transforming greens and bunkers for them to shoot out of. So Birdie Wing may have inspired real life. So life is imitating art. But about this episode, we get this thing where this girl saves a guy from getting killed. Okay, we've never seen either of these people before. Then they're going to have their pal, I forget what his name was, Paul or something. He's going to go and, man, I forget what his name was. But he was going to pilot the armed slave. He gets killed. And then Sosuke just shows up and says, okay, I'll do it. And then Sosuke saves the girl whenever she gets hunted down by these bad guys. And then he goes and wins. And now, I guess the new point of Full Metal Panic is for Sosuke to help out this girl and start a new life. And Kaname is totally forgotten about and will never be seen again. Kind of like how on the final episode of Garfield and Friends, Garfield tried to get the Buddy Bears canceled, and whenever he did that, they said Garfield and Friends will never be seen again. Instead, we'll have a show about raisins. And so Garfield had to give up and allow the Buddy Bears to have their part of the episode. But Garfield and Friends was never, ever seen again after that episode. Anyway.
Was that the last? Was that the last episode? I thought that happened midway through. Wasn't that the one where the Buddy Bears are there because the network thinks it needs to be more educational, but Garfield keeps getting annoyed by them and manages to drive them off by asking them to talk about Gazornaplats, which is a word.
The Gazornaplat, yeah, that's a different episode.
Oh,
that's a different episode. Yeah, the Gazornaplat, that is a hilarious episode. But yeah, well, I probably got some things wrong in that description. But I will say this. I don't know what to think about this episode. I don't know whether I should love it or hate it. I really don't. I can't figure it out. I feel like this is not Full Metal Panic, and I shouldn't like it. But then, in a weird way, I was like enjoying it. So I feel very conflicted about this. I don't know which way to go. So I'll ask you and see what you have to say about it.
I liked it. It is kind of weird the fact we had Kaname's captured and Sosuke goes, I will bring her back. Next episode, Kaname's not mentioned and Sosuke is just offering this other place. I am pretty sure that what's going on is that the reason he's here and doing all this is it somehow relates to getting her back, and we'll, in the coming episodes find out exactly why he's doing all this and how it relates. So I'm okay, but I was initially very confused. I was thinking, is this like a flashback? Is this like something in his backstory? And eventually I realized, no, this is not a flashback. This is in the present. So yeah, I enjoyed it. For now, it was just also kind of cool to just see Sosuke, just being just beating everyone pretty like he does.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Yeah, well, now I know who that orange-haired girl is who's in like 4 of the episode thumbnails on Crunchyroll for this season. But yeah, I thought it was pretty fun, although I do have to wonder, man, all this. So they're having the giant robots fight each other, and then there's people in the stands, and I'm thinking wouldn't it only take one like slip or something for there to be mass casualties in something like this? Like, what happens if, like, you know, it falls over and it falls onto like the people? That would be really bad. So, I mean, at least in the underground transforming golf course, if the ball like went the wrong way, it wouldn't, you know, hit and kill someone. We will never let that die, will we?
That reminds me, I need to play that Birdie Wing Switch game. I need to play it. I'm going to have an opportunity to play it in a week or so from now because I'm going on a road trip. So I'm going to have plenty of time to try to play the Birdie Wing game. So, or the Fate Stay Night game because I have both of those on there. So, yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. I really want to play these games.
Fate Stay Night is going to, I need to stress, when it's called a visual novel, please, I need to emphasize the novel. That you're going to do a lot of reading and it's going to take a while to get through the game. I need to get back to it. I started on it, but I kind of got distracted with other things. I haven't even, I'm still on the prologue when it's from Rin's point of view. So yeah, I don't know how, I feel like I heard the video game, the Birdie Wing game wasn't that great, but or am I getting that mixed up with a I might have been getting that mixed up with a different game based on an anime. So yeah, I don't know on that one. I guess I can look up well, I won't waste a reader's time looking stuff up. I'm sure they can look it up if they want to. Anyway, back to Full Metal Panic. Well, I don't know if there's that much else to actually say about it. I did end up, like I said, liking it. I thought it was a fun episode, even if we don't really have Kaname. In fact, that's the surprising thing. We've got an episode that's just focusing on Sosuke, no Kaname, and it was actually pretty good. Because usually those episodes are terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see. Was there anything else to say about it? No, I think that's it. It honestly was kind of just fun to see Sosuke being like just kind of cool and like beating up all the bad guys, you know, dominating everything and him being like just good at what he's doing, which is often the case, but it is there's such a satisfaction to see him going up against, like, you know, more random goobers and beating them with ease, when normally, you know, he does have to work harder to fight, you know, actual strong enemies. You know, it's the reason getting some catharsis out of just seeing like the jerks getting beaten easily. You know, there's catharsis there. It's I don't want like that to be the whole series, of course, but just an episode of it is nice. If I wanted to see that for a whole series, I just watch one of like the isekai titles with their super lengthy names. Like, okay, I haven't seen it, but I'm just going to assume by the title it's one of these like ones where the character gets super powered. You know, in Failure Frame, I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells. So, yeah. I don't think Full Metal Panic's going to turn into something like that, but it was fine for one episode. Okay. After that, yep, we've got Yu Yu Hakusho episodes 6 and 7. So, basically, right, so Yusuke managed to find the demons that had taken, or yeah, I think they were called demons. that had taken the things, but fortunately for him, Kurama just decides, I'm out of this, and Hiei goes after him, so that just leaves him with one to deal with, which is good because that one manages to really beat up Yusuke and is mostly saved because Botan manages to trick the guy into thinking there's a bunch of humans coming, so he runs off, even though you'd think he'd be able to beat a bunch of regular humans pretty easily, but I don't know, maybe just a regular gun could take him out or something. Anyway, so basically, Botan, saves Yusuke, then tells him, okay, hey, here's some really useful tech that for some reason wasn't given to you before. Like, hey, this thing, it'll help you find those demons. Why didn't we give that to you before? Well, just shut up. Anyway, also this thing that'll make his spirit gun more powerful, but leave him completely exhausted afterwards. Yusuke is able to use that to fight the guy, remaining one, which is, what was his name again? Well, anyway, he beats him, and, okay, you need, Goki. Then the other one is Kurama, the red-haired guy, who basically says, I just kind of wanted this because I was trying to, and he gives his backstory, which was a super powerful demon, but he got beaten, but then he reincarnated himself to be born as to this human mother, but then she got sick, and he, who had grown attached to her, wanted to save her and used the item thing because it would let you grant your wish, but you die doing so you do that. Yusuke tells, no, you shouldn't do that. I'll do that because then you'll be dead. And then so then he tries it and then realizes, well, actually that was a really stupid thing because that would have just made my mother sad else anyway. But very convenient for Yusuke, the mirror thing that does that tells him, well, you did this for selfless reasons, so I guess I'll let you off the hook and you don't die. Mm-hmm. And so we got two of them back, and we still have a third one.
Yep. And okay, so my thoughts on these episodes. Well, I really like Botan. Something about that accent makes me intrigued every time she's on screen. And, she's like Chi-Chi speaking with a British accent. But I felt as if I was losing interest by the time the second episode came on. And the reason for that is because it got away from what I was enjoying, which was like the interactions between the main characters. And now it got into this things like, okay, now he's a detective and he's got to solve these mysteries with his spirit gun. And it felt a lot to me like whenever Hunter x Hunter went on to the Chimera Ant arc and things really changed. So I'm not feeling these episodes the way I've been feeling the ones before it. I don't think they're bad, but I feel like something's missing, and I feel like the show needs to improve a bit because it wasn't that I hated the episodes. I just lost interest. So I don't know.
The biggest issues I had is because it makes it seem like maybe he is supposed, because from what I remember, I don't think we're supposed to see Koenma as like an idiot or anything, but his actions make him seem like one, because he's saying, okay, Yusuke, you need to go and get these items back from these demons right away. And we get the explanation, okay, he wanted to, originally start him off with easier cases, but this one was time sensitive, he had to do it right away. I'm okay with with that. The problem is he teaches Yusuke how to use the spirit gun. You know, the one thing that he can use to beat the enemies, and then which he can only use once per day. And Koenma, after demonstrating that and using it up, tells Yusuke, okay, now go and find those monsters. So that's just like, you know, it's like, literally, it's like if you give someone a gun and, you know, train them and say, okay, here's how you fight, blah, 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 shoot. And then after they use up all their bullets, you say, all right, now go and fight these some like animals that you need the gun to beat. It's kind of like that, especially the fact, you know, when apparently they had something that could track them and didn't give that to Yusuke. It seems like very, very poor planning.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, I thought they were okay, but Botan and Yusuke's interactions were fun. For some reason, even though Botan, I just keep thinking, and maybe it's just because she looks kind of like her, I just keep thinking of her, wow, Botan is basically Aqua if she was actually smart. That's just what I keep thinking of her as. Aqua if she was, Aqua from Konosuba, if she was smart.
I wouldn't insult Photon that much, but yeah, I think it was more fun whenever we were watching Kuwabara and Keiko and those people. Like, it feels like a downer now that he's alive. It's like, oh, okay, he's alive now. Let's move on. It was like, I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I wish he was still dead so we could get more of these misadventures with his body and having to preserve his body and stuff. Like, I thought that was really entertaining. And this feels like, okay, now we're going to be going on missions and a standard shonen stuff, and I'd much rather have the goofiness of Kuwabara trying to save a cat or something like that, you know?
Okay. I think one of the reasons I might have been more tolerant on this is because, like, I think that the episode with Kurama, like the stuff with Kurama, I would have been like, oh, well, that seemed kind of boring. But, I mean, he actually does become an important character as the series goes on. So I'm like, okay, so this was his introduction and we get more of him. So I'm more okay with that there. I might say that's a spoiler, but the fact he's featured prominently in the theme song and the eye catchers kind of gives that away.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll see. I'll be curious if those are your thoughts. I'm kind of curious about what you'll have to say about some of upcoming episodes. Okay. So now that we got that done with, let's see, what else did we have? Yeah, that's those. I guess it's back on to Toonami Rewind then. So we got Sailor Moon episodes 22 and 23.
Okay, so in the first episode, we get Usagi getting the kiss tuxedo mask while all kinds of bad things are happening. And then in the second episode, we get some plot improvement because Naru, Molly in the original dub, but we'll call her Naru here. She's fallen in love with Nephrite, and now that's a problem. That she's in love with Nephrite, even though Nephrite doesn't love her. And
I'll say he's way too old for her. I'm not. Would this relationship even be legal? She's in middle school, isn't she?
Yeah. About these episodes, they weren't bad, but they weren't good either. So maybe they were bad. I don't. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I do like though the whole Nephrite Molly Naru thing. I I think that's a pretty not the relationship, but the like the yeah. I didn't mean it like that. I meant I meant I like the fact that there's some tension there in between Naru and Usagi as a result of Nephrite, and now they've kind of got two differing opinions on Nephrite, and that at least mixes things up a little bit. Have to have some more gray areas. Like whenever Uranus and Neptune come along, that really helps the show because now you don't know who's good and who's bad, and there's so many gray areas, and but at the moment, it's too black and white, if you know what I mean.
I don't have a problem with black and whiteness. It's just it's just the series is so repetitive. I was like starting to think, should I like look? I was like starting to think. I mean, there's 2 episodes each week. That's a bunch to watch. Should I like be consulting? I'm sure there's a list somewhere of the ones that are just that don't have any plot advancements and the ones that are actually important to the plot, and just skip any episodes that don't have plot advancement, because I can understand some degree of standalone plots and such, but there's just so many of those things. It reminds me of when I tried to like watch the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers like each episode, and I just had to give up. It's the same thing every episode. This in the first season.
Yeah.
This is the continuity of the first season. They get their powers in the first few episodes. Then Tommy becomes a Green Ranger. Then he stops being the Green Ranger. Then he becomes a Green Ranger again. That is the level of continuity over 60 episodes. The later seasons of Power Rangers I liked more because they actually because even if they're always monster, you know the plot. Bad guy sends monster, Rangers fight monster gets big, they use robots to fight monster, defeat monster, the end. But at least there's more continuity between the things, unlike the first season where it's just that. Mm-hmm. That said, I'd still rather, I think, watch a bunch of that than like so much of Sailor Moon, because I find Beryl to be just such a boring villain so far. Like, she mostly just sits in one place and just moves her hands weirdly around this crystal ball. That's like, and makes some threats. That's like it. You compare on Power Rangers, like Rita, sure, she didn't really. She spent most of her time in her like base talking with her minions and berating them, but she was way more memorable. Now, granted, half of that was like Barbara Goodson, like I think that was her name, doing that like over the top voice for her. But anyway, but yeah, I liked the second episode more. We got some more focus with Naru. We had Nephrite. She kind of insist on protecting him because she considers herself so in love with him. I a little more gray. He seems to at least be maybe changing his mind on some things, possibly, which is good. I just wish he was a little more on, I mean, setting aside, it's so weird when Usagi's like trying to tell her, hey, he's a bad guy. Sorry, she's telling Naru, he's a bad guy. You shouldn't be in love with him. And I'm thinking, look, I don't know how old he is. He has to be at least in his 20s, okay? At a minimum, maybe older. And this girl's in middle school. So I at least I think they're, yeah, because Usagi's 14. They met I think they mentioned they were in middle school. I mean, at that age, I guess you could be in high school, depending on like, you know, how things worked out with your birth date. But yeah, so that's just a little weird. If the idea is supposed to be, oh, you know, maybe he becomes more good or something. I actually do know how this plot plays out, the generalities, and of course, if I didn't, on the episode title for the next episode spoils it. So, I don't know. On the whole, I was actually more interested in that second episode because I'm like, okay, we got some sort of real advancement here. But yeah, other than that, series has been just often kind of tedious. It's just there's too much filler. As always, it's the same thing. This is what happens when you. Like I said, this was a monthly manga series, and they decided to make a weekly anime out of it. What? Of course, they would have to do stuff like that. Okay. One final mention is that I know obviously people talk about like the repeat of the animation and transformation sequence, but there's so much other animation that is just used over and over. Like, it's always the exact same thing when she announces, like, in the name of the moon, I'll punish you. Their attacks are just the same stock animation.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
the same voice acting, too. They don't record those over.
Reminds me of this joke on The Simpsons where someone says in it they voiced a Roadrunner from Looney Tunes, and they just go beep, and then the person, well, don't they go beep beep? And they say, no, they just recorded me saying beep once and repeated it. Anyway, so there's that. The last thing I wanted to mention, I do think before I made mention of how like Sailor Mercury sounds exactly like Darkness. Well, she doesn't sound exactly like her anymore. She sounds really
Mars.
Yeah, sorry, Mars. I got him mixed up. Sorry. At least it's still very obviously the same voice, but it's not the exact same voice. It's like Cat Rukia. Yeah, you can see here it's Rukia, but it's not literally Rukia's voice. Just something extremely similar. So that's a little nice.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was thinking something similar. I was thinking, okay, she's becoming her own character now. She's not really as much Darkness. So I don't even know which one she recorded first, whether it was Sailor Moon or Konosuba.
This was the first one. I know this is the second dub for the series, but this was definitely recorded long before Konosuba.
That's what I thought. So yeah.
So really, technically, any more blame would probably go towards it. You could level more on the Konosuba voice directing, but I don't know. I thought the voice fit Darkness. That voice she does, that works a little better for Darkness, and this slightly different one works a little better for her here. But I guess that's all I would say. But anyway, regardless of whose fault it is, or if it's anyone's fault, at least it does not sound constantly like it's just Darkness talking.
Right.
Okay. Whew. All right. After that, we've got Naruto episode 27. So, after last week's, basically recap episode, we get started on the next phase of the exam where we find out, well, basically, they have, I think 26 teams was at it, and they give half of them one scroll and the other half the other scroll to Pat, and they're all sending them off into the big forest of death. And what you have to do is you have to get the other scroll, from another team, and it has to be the other kind of scroll. So, if you just beat up another team and find out you got the same one, well, that's not going to work for it. So they all enter there. We get some stuff with some of the characters. Naruto goes off because he has to go to the bathroom, but gets replaced by like someone there. It is a little weird though when Sasuke recognizes it. someone else and attacks him, and Sakura goes, "What, Sasuke? What are you doing?" And I'm thinking, well, he's of course, of course. Can you not just obviously realize he's doing it because he's deduced that it's not Naruto?
Yeah.
I was actually kind of annoyed with Sakura because, okay, her not realizing it right away, totally fine. But when she sees this happen, I feel like she should have like been able to look at Naruto, see the differences, like there, you know, like in him not having this, the scar he got, him like using his other hand to attack, and done it. So unfortunately, that made Sakura seem kind of dumb. And
I was thinking that the show has kind of been made. I never thought of this before, but the way these early episodes have gone, it's almost as if they've been telling the story from the perspective of Sakura, and you know we get to see her inner Sakura. So everything I feel like so far in this story in the Naruto up to this point has been like her point of view. So that's just something I wanted to add.
That's an interesting way to look at it. But yeah, other than that, I mean, this was mostly kind of preparatory stuff, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun episode. I like the setup for this part of the Chunin exam. It's you can have a bunch of different it's an interesting idea, and we can get some fights and stuff. So on the whole, I thought it was, I was down with it.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else?
Not on Naruto, no.
Okay, so finally we have Dragon Ball Z Kai episode 2020. Sorry, 22. I don't know why I said 2020. So in this one, basically Gohan and Krillin decide to, they basically decide to save one of the young Namekians from the attack by Frieza's minions, and manage to get away with him. The guy who goes after them, the Dodoria, ends up fighting against Vegeta instead, and Vegeta beats him and kills him, although he does find out that Frieza was the one who destroyed the Saiyan's planet, which, well, I'm sure might have been a big plot twist originally, but Dragon Ball Z Kai literally reveals that at the start of the first episode. That's the first thing of it is like all this is Frieza destroying the planet. It's just kind of weird that they just that like that is then right at the start of the series. But anyway, that's all that stuff, and yeah, that's basically it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. This wasn't too interesting, and I was getting really confused as to which episode was which, because like whenever I was trying to find them on my YouTube TV app, there were like so many episodes right around this episode that I was like, wait a minute, was this one this week, or was it this one, or was it this one? I couldn't tell. So I mean, I got the right episode, but it was kind of challenging figuring out which one it was, because I think we're kind of close to where it is on Saturday nights, you know?
Oh yeah, we're like 2 episodes behind that. So that's why if you go to the Adult Swim website, the last episode listed is going to be the one that aired most recently on Saturday. But the one we're discussing on Toonami Rewind is the one that aired on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
As long as I'm also on this, I gotta say that on their website, the Sailor Moon one is kind of confusing also, because it's so weird. So basically, what happens is you go to the page, and it'll list the episodes, but for some reason, the like some of it's different. A bunch of the episodes aren't numbered, and they're not always in the right order, either of those. Like, it only numbers up to episodes 15. Episodes 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 don't have numbers on them, and they're not even in the exact order. Like, in the order, it says, like, Wish Upon a Star, Naru's First Love. Then it says Romance Under the Moon, Usagi's First Kiss. But those were the opposite order they aired. So
right.
I always have to, like, go over and check, like, a list of episodes on Wikipedia or whatever to make sure I look at them in the right order.
Right.
Sorry, I think I cut you off when you might have been discussing the episode. Did you have something else to say about the episode?
Oh, no, I didn't. No.
Okay.
I don't really have much to say about that one.
All right. And that is that episode. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. So I guess we can just move on to giving what we thought were the best series of the week, not counting the Toonami Rewind shows.
Okay, so Toonami is locked out once again. It's the second straight week and the third of the last 4 weeks that Toonami has been locked out. If you remember, whenever I watch 2 episodes of something, I like to keep them separate. So I'm going to put the second episode of Yu Yu Hakusho in third place, the first episode of Yu Yu Hakusho in second place, and then Full Metal Panic, for the third time in 5 weeks, finds itself atop the rankings.
I'm wondering if I should be listing some of these stuff on Toonami Rewind. I feel weird if I'm listing things you aren't, but let me, that you're not counting as ranking, but let me think here. Well, okay, screw it. I'm gonna be doing that. I am my own man. I'm going to be doing this. So, I always, when I see multiple episodes of a series, I just average them. So fine, we'll do it my way. Third place, Yu Yu Hakusho. Second place, Naruto. First place, Full Metal Panic: Invisible Victory. I think this has, outside of that one kind of shaky episode that was just like a bunch of fighting. We commented on it when it happened. It was the one that, like, we barely saw any of Sosuke or Kaname, and it was just the other guys doing a bunch of fighting. Other than that, this has been a pretty solid season so far.
Yeah, and the thing I was amazed at was that the second grade was so much better than I gave it credit for. And this has turned out to be pretty good. But I am a little nervous if we keep Kaname out of the whole season or half the season, what could happen. That might not be good. So hopefully hopefully we see things from her perspective soon, even if she is split up from Sosuke, at least if she can have some screen time,
Okay. And I guess that's it for our podcast. Talking about the anime, the weekly series. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, I haven't had any time recently, so haven't been able to continue watching Shy. I want to watch Fairy Tail, but I don't know how much of a commitment I want to make to that. It's like One Piece long, but I kind of got interested in it, and I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? And I'm just afraid I'm gonna get myself sucked into a black hole of never-ending episodes. So, yeah, I'm I am contemplating watching Fairy Tale. I would suggest it for our podcast, but the length is a problem. So, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Come on, this isn't like One Piece length. There's only 329 episodes of Fairy Tale, not counting the sequel that's airing now. 329. That's more like I think that's more
Naruto.
No, Naruto was definitely high about that. I was thinking, is it like Bleach level? How many episodes of Bleach
Oh, that
were
is
there?
close, yeah. I remember the Aizen versus Yorichi and Urahara fight was episode number 300. So
there were. Let's see. There were. I'm seeing this episode now. Does this episode count? Include the new that like 1,000-Year Blood War one? Oh, okay. I'm seeing. Okay, so there are currently 392 episodes of Bleach there. It's not done yet, but I think we have only 2 cores left. So that would be about like 24 episodes, I think. So, that would bring us to about around 400 to a little over, to a bit over 400. So, yeah, it's more like in the level of Bleach than One Piece. Let's see. I wanted to say Black Clover. How many did Black Clover had? I feel like it only had like 100 something episode. No, it would have had to have been more than that because it went on because that was weekly. For some reason, I was thinking, why was I thinking there were only like 100 something? Let me see how many that's got. Oh wow, it was only 100 something episodes. I guess it didn't. Oh yeah, wow, it only aired for about like 3.5 years. Thought it went on a bit longer than that. Okay, so Black Clover is only like 170. Yeah, Bleach is probably the closest that I'll be able to find to it easily because it's definitely well short of Naruto and very well short of One Piece. Or is which one has more episodes? Is it One Piece or is it Case Closed? Let me check. Case Closed, also known as Detective Conan. Its original title in Japanese is Detective Conan, but I think in English they had to call it Case Closed because they were, I don't know, it might have infringed on some trademark. Let's see. Right. All right, so that has, oh wow, that's a very high number. Now, how many episodes does One Piece have? I don't even want to say the whole thing. We've got, oh wow, these are within 14 episodes of each other. One Piece has 1,119 episodes. Case Closed has 1,133 episodes. It has more episodes than One Piece. I think part of that was because there's a point where One Piece, it went on hiatus for a few months because of something. I think it happened during, I think it was some sort of COVID thing. So I can't, so maybe that I don't think Case Closed went on hiatus then.
Is Case Closed still running?
Yes, it's still running. It's
okay.
It's still running. Both the manga and the anime are still running.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, and actually, does Case Closed have more chapters or volumes than One Piece? Let me double check on that also. Dang, I had all these things pulled up, and now I have to pull them up again because I thought I was done with them. Okay, so One Piece. Yes, this is the quality information you're getting from our podcast. All right. Case Closed has 105 volumes and One Piece has 109, but there might be some different lengths of chapters, so let me see which one has more chapters. That's why I think often like comparing volume numbers is a way to kind of compare length, because that way, like if it's a monthly versus a weekly series, that gets you like more information on total like pages rather than, chapters, which might be different lengths. Okay, so we've got Let's see. Where's the... Oh, dang. Where's the... Okay, here we go. Detective Conan has 1,132 chapters, while One Piece... I literally said what it was before when I was looking it up, and now I can't remember how many it was. Let me just double check here again. 1,125 chapters of One Piece, 1,132 chapters of Case Closed. Although, like I mentioned, One Piece goes on more hiatuses than that, I think. Not like lengthy ones. We're not talking about like Hunter x Hunter, which actually is coming back from hiatus again soon. So I hope the fans will enjoy the 10 chapters they'll get before it goes back on hiatus.
Yeah.
It's been so constantly coming back for 10 chapters before going on hiatus again. I feel pretty comfortable making that prediction. All right. Case Closed has, on the other hand, maybe it has some hiatuses because it's been running for 3 years longer than One Piece. Despite that, so maybe it went on some breaks I didn't know about. I haven't really been following it too hard. Okay, there's that. I guess I could keep going and try to see which series have even more episodes or chapters than that, because there are some, believe it or not. But I think that's enough for that. We'll say about that. There's some series I've been watching, but I guess but not too much to really say about them yet. I'll maybe talk about some of them later.
Okay.
I think that's it for now. We'll all see you next week. And one thing to mention. So, I know I've wanted to watch the second season of Oshi no Ko, but you said you also wanted to wait until the dub was available to watch it. So, well, it's coming out in a few days, so we'll start watching it on the podcast for starting with our next one. And to compensate, we'll be watching 1 episode of Yu Yu Hakusho instead of 2. I never watched the first season, though I did read some of the manga a while ago, so I at least have some knowledge on that. But you've seen the first season, so you get to be, for once, the guy who has actually read seen the series before me, and you have to explain things to me instead of me explaining, this character in My Hero Academia had a really big role in the arc you missed.
Yeah.
So, just a note of that for anyone who actually watches along with us. I don't know if any of our fans do, but if people actually do, that's useful information to know. So, I guess that's everything then. So, we'll once again see you next week, and I'd like to say we'll try to do better, but we'll probably try to do about the same job as usual. Bye.
And bye. Bye.
No, sorry. I was saying bye, and then but you started talking. Okay, say your thing and we can leave.
Bye.
Saturday night, the past and future collide. Toonami presents a full night of your favorite samurai, but that's not all. We're blowing it out with Star Wars Clone Wars in its entirety. 4 never-before-seen episodes of Samurai Jack and every episode of Star Wars Clone Wars.
May the Force be with you.
Samurai meet Jedi. Next Saturday night, starting at 7. Use the Force, Jack.